Okay, so I decided to treat myself to a new airsoft pistol. So this is going to be a unboxing video of the new Army Armament R501, also known as the STI 2011 Costa Carry Comp. So we have this yellow card box here with this nice silver metallic R501 sticker. And if you look closer, there is this Pegasus winged horse logo on the front of the box, and these kind of little horse head logos also embossed into the box. The rest of the box, so on one side we have these warning markings in different languages. Okay, barcode made in China on that side, nothing on that side, barcode made in China on that side, and on the back again these little horse head logos. Right, so moving on to the important thing, let's see what it looks like inside the box. So we have, instruction manual, Army Armament Airsoft Guns and Accessories, short 4-page manual. Comes in Chinese and English, and just very generic safety warning messages there. Same thing, just generic safety warning messages, so this is not specific to this gun. So inside the box itself we have a nice foam tray, cut out for one magazine, the pistol, and 2 bags of silicone gel desiccant. So the magazine, black magazine, comes with a TTI base plate rather than an STI base plate. I'm guessing Army Armament are just reusing magazines from their STI 2011 John Wick Combat Master that they released earlier this year. So let's look at the pistol itself. So we'll start with the markings then. So on the left side of the slide, this comes with laser engraved, if the camera's going to cooperate, yep, laser engraved Costa Lotus logo. On the right side of the slide we have a deep engraved 2011 on the frame. We have a laser engraved STI marking on the slide. On the top of the chamber, if the camera will cooperate and focus, doesn't always want to, we have a fairly shallow engraved 9x9 marking. And then on the rear sight we have Heine. Now this refers to Richard Heine, who is a famous American gunsmith. He's made custom 1911s for decades. He's also famous for making rear sights for pistols, and there we can see the 9x19 on the top of the chamber. So that's all the markings on the gun. So let's look at some of the other features. So first of all we have the carry comp, which is attached to the outer barrel. We'll show that in more detail later. You can see the inner barrel extends to the front of the slide. It doesn't extend out into the carry comp, which I like. I hate inner barrels extending into compensators. It looks so ugly in airsoft. So the fiber optic front sight is attached to the compensator. This means when the slide cycles, the front sight is not going to move. That's good for being able to track your front sight in rapid fire strings. So we have front and rear cocking serrations on both sides of the slide. We have a correct STI style slide stop. The other side, the right side of the gun, the slide stop pin is kind of recessed into the frame to stop it being pushed out accidentally. That's a nice feature. Standard STI 3-hole plastic trigger. Magazine release is standard length, but it is drilled and threaded if you want to install an extended button. Ambidextrous thumb safeties. These have a nice rounded smooth edge to them, carry melt, so no sharp edges there. Extended beaver tail grip safety with extended pad on the bottom. Rear sight, as we mentioned, is a copy of the Heine rear sight. This has some fairly shallow serrations on it there, which they're a bit deeper, but that should still help to minimize glare from the sun. Very wide rear sight notch, as you can see. Now this is going to be very good for acquiring a fast sight picture. See if we can get that a bit in focus there. So you can see the front sight. There is lots of light on both sides of the front sight. Means you can pick up the front sight very quickly for close range. For longer ranges, for precision shots on plates at long ranges or people at long ranges, it may not be that accurate, but we'll see. So the grip has the correct style stippling for the Costa carry comp. This is actually a very aggressive stipple, quite rough. So even if you have super sweaty hands, this is not going anywhere. This is definitely more aggressive than on Army Armament's earlier John Wick 3 STI 2011 Combat Master. So we have STI style magwell. So there is a bit of a lip between the magwell and the grip frame. Doesn't really hurt reloads at all, but if you want, just use a Dremel and smooth that out a bit. All right, so what else do we have? We have Picatinny rail there. I'll show that with a light in a bit. So I'm just going to lock the slide back, see if I can do this one-handed. In fact, what we'll do, we'll stick in the magazine. It will be easier that way. All right, just so you can see what the carry comp looks like. So the carry comp is attached to this cone-shaped sleeve, which is attached over the outer barrel, and then the front sight is dovetailed into this little island here. So a black color nozzle. All right, so let's just release the slide. Now I never like using the slide stop lever to drop the slide because on Airsoft 2011, 1911s, it's just going to wear out the slide stop notch. So drop the mag and we'll test the trigger. So the trigger, there is about, okay, let's see, there's about a millimeter, half a millimeter of take up. You hit the wall, and there's a little bit of creep, about a millimeter more of travel, and then a fairly heavy but crisp trigger pull. I'd say about 5 or 6 pounds. Heavier than a lot of Marui or Armor Works 2011 trigger pulls. However, I found that when I was shooting my Army Armament John Wick 3 Combat Master at the 24-meter range at gun range 0, I was able to fairly consistently hit the small round plates at the back of the range. So let's just say one-handed shooting. There we go. So even if it's a little bit of a heavier trigger pull than most 1911s or 2011s, even one-handed can still keep a steady sight picture. So one thing I don't like about this gun, and I'll show you, is the pressure needed to engage and disengage the thumb safety is very light. You need very little force there. Now, I would prefer there was a more positive engagement and disengagement, because if you shoot with a low thumb, that is thumb under the thumb safety, there's a high chance, because the pressure and movement needed is so little compared with some other 1911s or 2011s, that you may accidentally engage that. Now for me, I always shoot with a high thumb. That's my thumb resting on top of the safety, so that's not a problem to accidentally engage the thumb safety. But it gives me another problem, because the ball of my hand is not particularly meaty, even though I have medium-sized hands, so I don't always disengage the grip safety. So what I'm probably going to do is disable the grip safety at some point in the near future, as I do on a lot of my 2011s or 1911s. Right, so I'm just going to show this with a light. So this is a copy, this is a, what is it, Night Enforcer copy X300U. See if we can do this one-handed. Right, excuse the shaky camera for a second. And there we go. So this has the Picatinny rail plate installed, and it's pretty solid, looks pretty nice. And this also fits in the KT Mech holster that I had made for my DVC Omni pistol. So we'll just show that in there. There you go. Alright, so that's just about it. One last thing, I'm not sure if this pistol is licensed or not, because there are no STI or Costa markings on the box anywhere. So anyway, but nice gun. Oh, and one final last thing. So you can see the, let's see if we can just focus in here, the slide to frame fit is actually pretty tight. There's no real kind of wobble noise, loose part noise when you shake it, so pretty impressive for the price.